So a couple of weeks ago, I was up in Breckenridge and I was hanging out at my favorite hostel. Breckenridge is one of my absolute favorite mountain towns. It's super accessible to Denver. And I'm up there quite a bit. But this time was interesting because I met a lot of British people in town. Like they were just everywhere. And they were not like 20-year-olds. They were like grown-ass adults. Anyway, so we're chit-chatting, whatever, hanging out. And they said something that really made me think, oh, this is a conversation. And the thing that came up, which really shocked me, was that they said Colorado is really expensive. Now, I was like, wait a minute, because I've lived in Europe and Britain is not inexpensive. In fact, it's, I think, an expensive country to visit. London in particular is expensive. These guys and the other couple that I was hanging out with were from both the northern part of the UK and from London. So for them to say this, I was like, there's a deeper conversation that needs to be had. And I just thought, you get paid pounds sterling. Now, the thing I didn't realize was that actually the US dollar is strong right now. So if you're thinking about going to Europe and it's late 2019, check the exchange rate because you might be missing out on some good deals over there. But for this episode, we're going to talk about how you can travel to Colorado as a frugal person, not go broke, and enjoy yourself. Sit back, relax for 72 hours in Denver for frugal people. This is the winter edition because summer has a whole bunch of other stuff that I would love to talk about. Welcome to Square State. I'm your host, Michelle Jackson. If California and Texas had a wild love affair, Colorado would be the result. Make sure you download your Ibotta app today. I'm a huge fan of Ibotta. I'm also an affiliate for that app. Ibotta's a savings app developed here in Denver, Colorado. I actually have met the owner of the business, the CEO. He's cool people. It's a great way to save money on shopping for groceries, Amazon, and even clothing. When you download the app and redeem your first savings, you will earn $10 towards your first payout of $20. So definitely make sure you download Ibotta and get signed up today. I'll have the link in the show note. In order to go to the show note, you'll go to squarestateco.com/72 hours in Denver for frugal people. Yeah, it's long, but you would type it in that way. Anyway, back to this whole Colorado's expensive. Well, I'm actually kind of frugal, but I have expensive taste. So what that means is I'm looking to have the best experience for the least amount of money, but the best quality. This is something that I talk about quite a bit at my other show and on my other website, Michelle is Money Hungry, where I talk more about personal finance related topics. So if you come into Denver and you're like, I'm looking to book 3 days in Denver, I want to hang out there. Here's some of the things that you need to do to get started, to prepare. And I'm actually going to share an itinerary with you. The first thing is this. If you're visiting Denver during the winter months, just understand that winter months would be any month where snow could naturally occur. So basically, that's September through June. I'm not being crazy. I'm serious. Don't freak out. It just means that those are the months where snow has been known to happen and that you need to be aware that it's a thing. I was cracking up because I did a fun side hustle recently, and all of these attendees, there's like a large number of them coming in from Dallas and from like other parts of East, and Dallas isn't East, but they were coming in from all over the world. But there were a lot of people coming in from Dallas, from the East Coast and stuff. And it actually ended up being like so cold. So Saturday it was like 75, 80 degrees. The next day it snowed and was like 20 degrees. That is what happens during the winter here. Now, the weird thing or cool thing is that the snow doesn't linger. So we don't get that like poo-poo snow that you get out east where it lingers for months and it turns dark and gross and dogs pee on it. That doesn't happen. But we do get very significant temperature swings, precipitation. So you kind of have to think about that. So here are things that you need to do as you prepare for your trip. First of all, you need to watch the weather report obsessively before you come. Obsessively. Really, obsessively. Colorado has the amazing ability to basically have 4 seasons in one day. Seriously. Layers are your best friend, so you should be bringing layers. Denverites are pretty casual, so you're not going to be judged if you're wearing jeans and a cute top out, even to the theater. Please smell good. That's all I ask. I personally still like to dress up, but there's really absolutely no pressure to do so. If you know you're going to an event, though, where it's for work and it's likely that you should, then you should. But just know that Colorado people in general, we're not going to really be like, oh my God, she didn't dress up. It's just not a thing we care about. Chapstick, your lips will thank you. Sunglasses, your eyeballs will thank you. It's really sunny here. It's sunnier here than San Diego. It is, I think we get 330 days of sunshine a year. It's always sunny. So sunglasses are a must. A water bottle, it is a mile above sea level. You will need to drink a lot more water than you think you should, so do. And a water bottle is just an accessory that we have. You must drink some water. Lotion, by the way. Your skin will thank you. Lotion or Vaseline, depending on where you are from and who you are, if you know what I mean. There's nothing worse than the feeling of dry skin when coming in from a humid location. It feels like your skin is cracking. Now, for those of us who live here, we're just so used to it, we don't notice. But when I go to humid places and then come back to town, I know to slather it on extra before I like step foot off the plane. So just make sure you're lotioned up or whatever you need to do. And then finally, start checking Eventbrite and Meetup, actually. So again, we're talking about frugal things for frugal people. Those 2 places you should be looking at quite a bit, Eventbrite and meetup.com. The meetup groups in Denver are amazing. And in the Denver metro area, they're very active. They do a lot of carpools to different locations, like group carpooling. Obviously, you're paying for gas to help out the driver who's taking you up to the mountains if it's a mountain event. So definitely, I would strongly encourage you to check out those kinds of events, because a lot of times they're going to be free or at a huge discount. And if you're traveling on your own, it's a great way to meet people in town. So welcome to Denver. It is absolutely possible to have a frugal trip here, but I'm going to share kind of what I would encourage you to do. So first thing first, you're going to fly into DIA, take the train from the plane. That's what we call it, the A line from Denver International Airport to Union Station. The train is super safe, and security does walk that train twice on every trip, and be aware that they check your fare twice. So don't think that they won't check your fare. They will absolutely check your fare, and the fines are very expensive. So just buy your fare. There are little kiosks that you'll see where you'll need to purchase the fare. I do think it's expensive now. It's $10.50 for a day trip, or you can use that same ticket around town, I guess I would like to say, for the rest of the day. But if you're just going one way, it's still $10.50. So just know that if you purchase your ticket and then you need to take the light rail or what have you for the rest of the day, it's good for the entire day. But compared to the train to O'Hare, it's much more expensive. But it's obviously significantly cheaper than taking an Uber or a Lyft, which would be probably $45 to $50, not including tip. I take the train. I love it. In fact, you know how LAX is having this big problem now that all the ride shares are located in some weird random location, and now there's lines of 500 people? We don't have that issue in Denver anymore. Kiss and Cry is basically empty because everyone's taking the train. So you don't need to do anything that's complicated. Just take the train. It will end at Union Station, which is fantastic because then you can take either the bus or Lyft or Uber. I prefer Lyft to your next destination. Once you get to Union Station, also the bus terminal is located there as well. So if you wanted to take a bus to Boulder, Colorado, or to your other location in Denver, that is one of the main terminals for RTD. So just as a heads up. By the way, quick safety tip, please, please, please arrive earlier than 10 if at all possible. Denver's a pretty safe city, but I'm going to be frank, it goes to sleep at a certain point. And if you're arriving at 1 or 2 in the morning, it's not ideal. It's just not. I don't really understand why people do that. And I'm calling out my friend Danielle, who spoke at my event. I ran an event in Denver at the beginning of October called Money on the Mountain. And she was one of my speakers, but she arrived at like 1 a.m. And what happened, which I didn't know this was a thing, her hotel had sold out. Like they had oversold the rooms. So then she had to move from that hotel, because she had no choice, to another one that they had arranged for her. But the thing was, for me, I was worried because I'm like, she doesn't know this town. I don't know who she's with. I don't know who the Lyft driver is driving her around. Like, it just freaked me out. So just from a safety standpoint and just practical, try to arrive much earlier in the day, ideally before 10 p.m. Because then if things go wrong or things don't work out, you can make things happen and not worry about safety. I tend to arrive in any new place when I know it's daylight. That's just a hard, fast rule that I have. So if I do like a red eye, obviously I'm arriving at 6 a.m. When I'm going to Europe, I always make it so I arrive at 6 a.m. Like I always arrive during the day because it makes it easier for me to get things done or make adjustments when travel stuff goes awry. So now let's say it's Friday, 8 a.m. Again, this is 72 hours in Denver. There are 2 places that I recommend. Hostel Fish, which is beautiful. It's a really nice hostel. It's on top of a really cool restaurant called Ophelia's, which used to be a brothel. And then Ember Hostel, which is, I'd say about 10 minutes from Union Station. So if you're tired and you're like, I don't want to try to figure all this out, like to get to the Ember Hostel, just take a Lyft. You can also take the number 10 bus, actually, from the Union Station RTD bus terminal. So you can do those 2 things. You could either take the Lyft or the number 10 bus. Now you're going to go sightseeing. And one of the places that not enough Denverites even know about is the Deku Collection. I may not be pronouncing it correctly, by the way. And it may not necessarily be open on Friday. I didn't check that it's open on Friday, but if you're here on a Friday or a Thursday, you need to check that out. It is actually free. It's a permanent installation in a random ass building on 16th in California, downtown. And I love this art installation. It's so bizarre. And the highlight of this installation are 2 ginormous inflatable or inflated rabbits. Like they're huge. So definitely check that out. Next, I would say go to Larimer Square. It's a beautiful, beautiful block. One of my favorite blocks in Denver. And I love it because it has a lot of history, but right now it also has a permanent art installation with cats. I actually am not a cat fan. So the fact that I like this installation tells you something. Cats just don't need people. And I'm also highly allergic to them. But anyway, and so you can walk on that block and look around to see these ceramic cats everywhere. And I don't mean like just a couple. I mean a lot of random little ceramic cats. And if you go into the alley behind Larimer Square, they're all over the place there too. So it's a lot of fun checking that out. Once you're done with that, I would say make sure you download the Ritual app to earn $10 towards your first meal while you're in Denver. So if you haven't used the Ritual app, it's kind of nice because you can just basically pre-order your meal and then pick it up because it's already pre-ordered and paid. There's little kiosks in the restaurants or coffee shops that participate in the Ritual app service area. And so you just order what you want, pick it up. They'll let you know when it's ready, like the amount of time it takes to have it ready, and then you're done. By the way, you'll earn $10 towards your first meal when you download it for the first time. So just heads up on that if you're hungry. But if you brought food from the hostel, then I would say hang out at Union Station while you eat your meal, especially if it's a kind of a chilly day. That's a good place to do it. And then walk over to one of my favorite places in Denver, which is Rhino, River North, or if you grew up here, 5 Points. I use it kind of interchangeably, but for newer arrivals to Denver, they're probably going to just call it Rhino because the collective memory of 5 Points is fading, which is really sad to me, but that's a whole nother political conversation for another episode. Once you're done eating and you've made your way over to Rhino, you're going to check out the mural. So Rhino actually has been nominated or marked or given the accolade as one of the top 10 neighborhoods in the United States to check out. And it is so awesome. I actually love to just go over there with a cup of coffee and just wander around that area and look at all the murals. I don't think people really understand how many there are. There's so many murals in that Rhino space. It's insane. And part of the reason that happened is there is an event every September called Crush Walls. And artists from all over the world are brought in to create new art. And I think one of the best things about Denver is that it's just the art that's so accessible to everyone. So you don't have to be a rich person to enjoy arts and culture. And that's something that I think makes society civil. So definitely hang out in Rhino. Once you're done wandering around, there are a ton of breweries. There's even Stem Cider. If you don't like regular beer and you like ciders like I do, you can go to Stem Cider. There's just a lot of places that you can check out while you're there. Once you're done walking around and you're kind of tired, check out Backyard on Blake. I actually think that Backyard on Blake is like one of those undercover places that not enough people know about, even people who live here in town. So the people who live near it know about it and love it. And it's basically a mixed use space. And there's shopping, there's restaurant, there's coffee shop, there's a co-working space. And then it has an amazing rooftop patio. So you could eat your lunch actually on that rooftop patio if it's a nice day. Again, Colorado people are out all year long, regardless of whether like it's summer or winter. We just layer up. and usually the weather's pretty mild, so you would be comfortable, I think, probably sitting on the patio and looking at the mountains because it has a beautiful view of the mountains. So definitely check out Backyard on Blake. Once you're done, I would go over to 28th and Larimer, grab a bike from the B-Cycle kiosk, and then ride your bike back to Union Station. Make sure to get the unlimited $9 a day pass. The only weird thing about B-Cycle is you have to port the bike every 30 minutes. So just be aware of that, or else, I don't know, they trigger some kind of overcharge or something. So around Friday at 6 p.m., there's a lot of things that you can do. But if you've arrived the first weekend of every month, we have what's called First Fridays. And basically, there are arts events all over town, in particular on Santa Fe Boulevard. They're free. Wine is usually flowing for free or cheap, snacks, that kind of thing. And it's just a great way to take in the crowd, art, music, because a lot of times there will be artists playing music near the different galleries that you're wandering through. So definitely check that out. And then finally, at Friday, 9 p.m., say, that day has been pretty full. Head back to your hostel, join in on the fun. So part of why I love staying at hostels is you meet a lot of really cool people that you may want to hang out with. If you're at the Ember Hostel in particular, they have a hot tub. So you could soak in the hot tub before heading out. If you're at Hostel Fish, you could just go downstairs to Aphelia's for live music. They've had Diggable Planets, like some amazing groups play there. So definitely check out Aphelia's before you arrive to see who is playing live there. All right, so Friday's done. Now it's Saturday. Let's go to Boulder. Boulder's my hometown. I love it and hate it at the same time. That's another episode, and I cannot wait to share that episode. But for tourists, For friends who are visiting, I always, always, always make a point of taking you there. Why? Because it's an incomplete trip to Colorado if you don't go to Boulder, or rather an incomplete trip to Denver if you don't go to Boulder. It makes no sense. Why? Because it's right by the mountains. You can get a quick hike in, and it's just a wonderful day trip. Super close, very accessible. You can actually take the bus from Union Station, see the theme here, go to the RTD bus depot below, get the FF1 bus for $10.50 round trip. So it's round trip, all day ticket, and then go to Boulder. You will get on that bus and you will stay on the bus until the very last stop. So you don't need to ask the driver, where's the last stop? It will just stop moving. Yeah. So one of the things that you should bring or to wear for this day trip is hiking shoes that are good for hiking. Please do not wear flip-flops. I've literally seen people do that. It makes no sense. If you don't have regular hiking shoes, tennis shoes with good tread and good ankle support. Snacks and water. Please do not forget water. Once you've arrived in Boulder, one of the things you could do if you want to go for a hike is get off before the end of the line. So you would get off at Baseline and Broadway. When you get off the bus, what you're going to do is you'll see a Starbucks on your right, but you're going to walk to your left across the street towards the mountains on Baseline. You will actually pass a fire station and just keep walking up Baseline until you hit 9th and Baseline. You're going to a park called Chautauqua. If you follow my Insta stories or you follow my Instagram, you'll see a lot of pictures of Chautauqua. I love hiking there because it's just an easy place to go. And there's just like a lot of different trails that are different. How you experience them are different throughout the year. If you're not used to hiking, please do not try to be a badass and do something complicated. You will hurt yourself and you'll probably get sick. And I've seen it happen so many times that I'm just going to say it right now. Do not wear jeans on your hike. If at all possible, it will be very uncomfortable. Wear athletic clothing. There are bathrooms at Chautauqua Park. There's one that's really busy in the ranger station. And then there's another set of bathrooms, which is better because people still don't seem to know that they're there. Those bathrooms are located below the restaurant that is there. So Chautauqua has a restaurant. There's only one. So if you ask someone, where's the restaurant? They'll point. Super easy. The bathrooms are underneath there and you can change if you need to change. The water is really cold, by the way, when you wash your hands. So just a side note. Then just go for a hike. If you feel woozy, lightheaded, etc., that could be altitude sickness. I will include a link in the show notes to my concerns about altitude sickness. A lot of people don't take it seriously enough when they're coming to Denver. It can happen in Denver. Just be aware that if you're going to Boulder, that's a higher altitude. The further into the mountains you go, the higher the altitude gets. Denver starts at a mile above sea level, so please don't be cute. If you start feeling weird, pounding headache in particular too, you're probably getting altitude sickness, so just heads up. Once you're done hiking, you can do two things. You can go onto 9th Avenue and walk down the hill. You'll just literally walk, like there's no other way but to walk down 9th Avenue. Just keep walking on 9th Avenue until you hit Pearl Street. Once you hit Pearl Street, you'll turn right. And there are a couple of different places I recommend for a fairly inexpensive meal. Boulder is not cheap, but 3 places on Pearl Street that I recommend that are reasonable. Yellow Deli. It's also quirky and interesting inside. West End Tavern. It has a beautiful rooftop that you can just look at the view of the mountains. It's so pretty. And then Zo Mama, which is also pretty close to the other 2 locations I mentioned. Once you're done, head back to Denver around 2 p.m. and you'll just go to the Boulder bus station at 14th and Canyon. Look at your app. I think I just got the address wrong. And then you'll just take the FF1 bus back to Denver. That's it. Super easy, right? Now that you've had a day in Boulder, you're tired, you've hung out, you've gotten back to your hostel, taken a shower, you're all refreshed and ready to go. Saturday, 7 p.m. You've kept things frugal, so now you can splash out a little bit. And I would recommend going over to the Dairy Block and wandering through Milk Market. Milk Market's kind of cool. It's a multiple concept food space. Basically, it is a multiple use food space. It's got amazing food, everything ranging from fresh seafood, bao, Nashville hot chicken, pasta, wood-fired pizza. So there's a lot of choices in there. But the other thing that I like about that block and that whole concept, besides the fact that it's really cool, especially at night, is there is a speakeasy on this same block called Run for the Roses. So that's where you're going to splash out for an expensive drink. Please know that in Denver, the drinks are expensive depending on where you go. And I think every time that I've gone out recently, it's been consistent, anywhere above $10. So just understand that it could be between $10 to $14 for your drink, not including the tip for your waiter or your bartender. So just heads up. And then just enjoy yourself. Whatever happens from there, you do you, be safe. And then finally, Sunday. So Sunday is huge because people love to go for brunch. I love brunch so much. And I thought I would share 5 brunch ideas or 5 brunch locations that you may not necessarily know about because, well, you're not from here. The first is Sassafras. I love that place so much. I'm obsessed. Specifically the one in the Highlands. I've included the link to that one, so definitely check it out. Jelly, which is a restaurant located in the Capitol Hill area. Love Jelly so much. Star Kitchen, if you want dim sum, that is the only place that I really consistently recommend. It is packed. All of these places are packed. So even though on the itinerary in the show notes it says 10 a.m., you may even want to get there at like 9. They're always very busy. My 4th place that I am oh my God, this place is so amazing. Senor Bear. The best food ever. It's Latin inspired. The food is so good. The team is so passionate about what they do. Senor Bear, you must go there. The 5th place I included, even though I know that they are actually renovating the space and closed. It will reopen. So I wanted to make sure that I mentioned this place because once it reopens, I want to make sure that you're going there. And it is called Call. Actually, Call made a hugely prestigious list in 2018, I believe it was, as one of the top 10 places to eat, one of the top 10 new places to eat in the United States. Call is incredible. And they have these Scandinavian little like stuffed puffy round pancakes that are to die for. Call, I'm obsessed with you. Call me, baby, call. I'm like really obsessed with the Call. They have such good food. I was sad to hear that they were being renovated, but honestly, they couldn't keep up with the demand. Like there were so many people going there, they had to expand the space. So I'm super excited to see what they do and when they reopen, but those are my brunch suggestions. And then finally, I would have you take the light rail from where? That's right, Union Station to Old Town Arvada. Old Town Arvada is super cool, and it's just a cute little old-fashioned downtown area that you can wander around in for, like half an hour to an hour. There's some shopping, coffee shops, things like that. And you would take the W line light rail to there. It's about 15 minutes by train from downtown Denver, and the train stops at the Old Town Arvada stop. So I hope that this was a fun and frugal experience for you. Let me know how it went. Definitely, I hope it helps you understand what to budget for, or what you don't have to worry about so much. You saved money with the Ritual app with Ibotta if you started saving. And honestly, like start using Ibotta now because you can use it at home, like for groceries and stuff. You got your $10 towards your first meal on Ritual. You were able to take the bus everywhere instead of taking the lift and all that kind of thing, which can be very expensive, especially because we have sports events. I did want to make a little asterisk on that. say you're in town and you're like, I'm frugal, but I'm such a fan of the Nuggets. I would purchase your ticket, Nuggets or the Avalanche or what have you. I would start looking at your tickets now. Also, if you are into the arts, there are always incredible shows, not just the touring musicals that we get, but the actual shows at the Denver Center for Performing Arts that they produce are amazing. And you can get some pretty affordable tickets for that as well. So I hope you had a great time in Denver. Whoop, whoop. And I can't wait to share the next itinerary for the next 72 hours that you are in town. I hope you're having a beautiful day. See you here in Denver soon. Bye.